Yes, I'm ready to go when you are. I've been waiting about half an hour. I don't have an actual watch, but yeah. Well, the coat, I'm wearing this because I've just been out into the tundra. Well, and it befits the video that I'm about to make, right? If not the temperature of the studio. All right, well, let's roll. What do you mean we're rolling? Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to Christmas words. This time of year is synonymous with Christmas because this time of year is Christmas. Who writes this stuff? And for me, it will always be synonymous with those first few months of living in the United States. As a newcomer, when you're thrust into an American Christmas, you truly realise that these cultural differences really are the gift that keeps on giving if you're a masochist. Because Christmas is chock full of those differences, isn't it? From the food, to the culture, to the words that we use. And as I sat around the Christmas dinner table for the first time with my wife's family, it soon became clear that things I hold dear, that's a rhyme and a pun, was something of an alien language in America. Words like Christmas cracker and Boxing Day had been replaced with nothing. And that's fine. It wasn't that I hated this fact, it was that I didn't expect it. And I also didn't expect that America would have its own Christmas words, or at the very least, Christmas words not widely used in Britain. I mean, sure, we say Father Christmas, you say Santa Claus. We also say Santa Claus, so that wouldn't be an example. And so as I was going through the list of Christmas words in my head that I only encountered after moving to America, there were many words that I had to leave off the list. Either because they had made it to Britain, or I'd heard them 1,000 times in American Christmas songs. And so what remains is a list of 5 words that I only used after moving to the United States. That's right, sled. I didn't use the word sled until I moved to America, and Americans, you're probably thinking, whoa, you don't have sleds in Britain. How do you entertain children during winter? Snowballs? Well, no, on the occasions that it does snow in Britain, you might find children, myself included, when I was a child, I'm not anymore, riding a sled down a hill and crashing into a chicken coop. I am who I am. But here's the thing, we don't refer to it as a sled. We generally refer to this mode of vehicle as a sledge, as in sledgehammer, just without the violence, unless you're a chicken. It was just an accident, I was only 6. Now, funnily enough, it turns out that the word sledge is used in the United States in the context of this type of vehicle, except it's usually more specific than the British use, meaning a large sled used for carrying things like freight. Anyway, just from this entry alone, it's clear that Christmas is all about animals. Once again, this takes me back to my first American Christmas and the coming together of my wife's family. I and everyone else sat around in a circle. It almost felt like a cult. And in the middle, instead of a sacrificial lamb, was a bunch of presents. And this was exciting, more gifts that hopefully aren't socks. And we all picked a number out of a hat, and depending on the number that you pick, that's the order in which you would go to the centre and pick out a present. And I was really giddy when my number came up because I spied this one present that was shaped suspiciously like a book. And so I grabbed it and unwrapped it with untold anticipation and thought, great, I've got my hands on some good old American literature. It was High School Musical, the annual. You see, it turns out that the entire point of what is known here as the White Elephant Gift Exchange, or Yankee Swap, or Dirty Santa, is that the gifts are completely and utterly a little bit rubbish. Some would say, partly incorrectly, that that's what sets this apart from what both Brits and Americans know as Secret Santa. But just as with Secret Santa, there's an exchange involved. If you don't like your present, or you see somebody else's present that you crave, you can offer to do an exchange. And this rule was of enormous interest to my wife's 8-year-old cousin. It was magical. In an instant, I was free of that High School Musical annual and the proud new owner of a VHS, Jane Fonda's original workout. Sorry, Jane, it clearly didn't work, much like my VHS player. FELIZ NAVIDAD. What is a Spanish phrase doing on this list? These 2 words meaning Merry Christmas did not originate in the United States. But that doesn't change the fact that it was in the United States that I first heard the term. Because compared to American English, British English doesn't have such a Spanish influence. But I remember when I first heard the phrase used in just general conversation, I was working as a customer service agent at a call centre. It was Christmas and one customer, who was clearly of Spanish or Hispanic American background, signed off with FELIZ NAVIDAD, right? And it was one of those exciting moments where I felt proficient in Spanish, because not only did I know what it meant, I was able to say it back to her. quite rubbishly in a British accent. And of course by then the chief reason that I knew what it meant is because I'd heard the song. Because likewise I hadn't heard this song until I moved to America. And as with a lot of Christmas songs, I suspect a lot of people living here are absolutely sick of that song, but not me. When that song comes on the radio each year, I do this really rare thing for me in which I'm overcome with joy. It's unbelievable. For copyright reasons, I cannot play the song right now, but the law cannot stop me from doing this. And I know what you're thinking, perhaps the law needs to be changed. Krampus. What is Krampus? Well, contrary to popular belief, it's not the thing that I get when I run 50 yards. Perhaps the question shouldn't be what is Krampus, but who? And just like FELIZ NAVIDAD, the word and even the concept didn't originate in the United States. However, while I've been living here, his popularity seems to have grown, which says a lot about me. You see, Krampus doesn't like naughty kids. And don't think for a minute that Santa Claus doesn't capitalise on this fact. Because while he's being all jolly and giving bicycles to the nice kids and eating all the pies, he condones the actions of a devil-like character who goes around punishing the naughty children. And how does he punish them, aside from giving them the High School Musical annual? By thwacking them with birch rods, and all because they accidentally crashed into a chicken coop. So Santa, I'll say it again, you're always going on about which kids have been naughty or nice. You're the one that's hanging around with Satan, which is also an anagram of your name. Double standards, mate. Saying that, I have genuinely been good this year. Good enough to know that your friend, Mr. Krampus, originated in either Germany or Austria before making his way into American popular culture. From there, you allowed him to be popularised further in the 2015 film of the same name starring Toni Collette and Adam Scott. This film, which you no doubt deposited down thousands of chimneys, has helped to spread the name of Krampus to my homeland of Britain. And to absolve yourself of prosecution, is that why you go by different names? Is that why you go by this? Okay, I've calmed down now because I'm just hearing from my producer that Krampus hangs around with St. Nicholas and not you, Santa. Although aren't you the same person? Why do you also go by Father Christmas, or Old St. Nick, or Santa Claus? Just who are you, Santa? Well, after moving to the United States, I learned that you are Kris Kringle. But then who is Kris Kringle? Kris Kringle is a pseudonym for Santa Claus that emerged from Pennsylvania German. You see, Americans adapted the German phrase Christkindl, which means Christ child, into Kris Kringle in order to give Santa an identity crisis. Now, this pseudonym was not widely used in Britain when I lived there. And so the other day I had this aha moment when I was watching the film Home Alone. And in it, there's a character that dresses up as Santa Claus and runs the Santa's grotto. And at some point when he lets his guard down, he refers to himself as Kris Kringle. And as a kid, I thought that was the real name of the character when he wasn't dressed up. As in, hello, I'm Kris Kringle and I work in accounts. Now, as with many things, I bet the name Kris Kringle has made it over to Britain since I left. In fact, in some circles it was probably used while I lived there. But Kris Kringle was born in Pennsylvania and the North Pole. That's it for the first episode of VLOGMAS. Let me know in the comments below some of your favourite Christmas words. I'm Lawrence Brown. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any VLOGMAS action. And a Kris Kringle-sized shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until tomorrow's video, goodbye.